Ladies and gentlemen, how are we doing today? Little post-sickness tier list for you. So today, I'm going to be running through every enchantment in the Bazaar, and I'm going to be ranking them in order of how strong I typically view them to be. Now, this is subjective, and I'm willing to admit that. So if you disagree, that's okay. We'll have different opinions, but this is how I view them. And in general, this is how often I view an enchantment to be good. I would normally say, like, moreover, it's when you're at level 10 or you died. Like, that's because, like, if you see a free enchantment around in the Bazaar world, it's pretty much always good and you can throw it on anything. But, like, if you get level 10 and you want an enchantment on something, like your best item, this is how I'm ranking these. Yeah? Okay. Now, beyond that, again, that's just a general guideline. Certain enchantments will be broken in certain setups or builds, even if they're, like, lower ranked. So, let's get into it, guys. So, starting off, we have the beautiful, the very bad, the deadly. Deadly typically will give 50% crit chance to an item. And now, just as a general note for all these enchantments, like, it'll give and take a little bit depending on what item it is. But, like, the most common one, especially I feel like on the things you want to be enchanting, deadly is typically something like 50% crit chance. Now, I think deadly is the worst because here's how I'd explain it. If you have crit chance, like if you're critting with an item, you're doubling the effect, right? So like, let's say you have a weapon that does 5 damage. If you crit with it, it now does 10, right? Well, if you got Obsidian as an enchantment, it would do 10 damage every time anyways. And then you can also crit with that anyways. So like, it's basically a way to double the effect of something, but not all the time. And then also, that doubled effect of other enchantments can still crit. So that's why I think Deadly's horrible. It's like 50% of the time it's as good as this, and then it can't crit, you know? Or like this can also crit. Next up, we have the beautiful Radiant. Now, Radiant can be really strong. So typically what Radiant does is an item with Radiant cannot be slowed, frozen, or destroyed. Basically just immune to CC is like a good way to think about it. Radiant isn't amazing, especially after they changed it, because right now what Radiant does is that if you, like, okay, before Radiant was nerfed, Radiant could be affected by slows and freeze, and it wouldn't get, like, impacted, but it means, like, it was a target. Now if an item has a Radiant, there's an argument that it actively makes your build worse, because if your item with Radiant can't be slowed or frozen, it means your other items are getting slowed and frozen more. There are certain builds where Radiant would be really nice, like if you are running a one-weapon build, which is extremely susceptible to freezes and slows, it becomes very strong. But a lot of the time, I feel like you're not running that, and then it can be very horrible to have Radiant. It can make your build worse. And there's an argument to have like Radiant behind Deadly for sure. Turbo. Now, I think Turbo can be a decent enchantment. Typically what Turbo does is it'll add like haste to an item. When it goes off, it'll haste. I feel like a lot of times when I'm enchanting something at level 10 or whatever, I'm enchanting my big like damage item. And if I get Turbo on my big damage item, it usually feels pretty bad. Now, if you're like walking around through the Bazaar and you get like a free Turbo enchantment, that can be pretty good because you can put it on something like Dive Weights, which will just make the haste double. But the way I think about it is like when you're enchanting something, you're enchanting your best, most powerful item a lot of the time. And if you get Turbo on it, it feels really, really bad. Like, really bad. If you have like a kinetic cannon and you're like, oh, I could love some damage or I could love some healing, and you get Turbo and you're like, wow, this is useless. Feels horrible. Next I'm going to put Toxic. Now, the reason, so typically Toxic will do like 10% poison equal either like off of an item's damage or an item's shielding. It could also do like equal damage to an item's burn. So it's not horrible. The problem is that like Toxic or poison is like a worse form of damage than burn is, in my opinion. Toxic ticks once per second, burn ticks twice per second, you know, so like, unless they have a lot of shielding, then poison's better, but like, in general, I think fiery is just a much more potent form of damage. Beyond that, with the new healing changes, your poison gets taken away pretty quick. It's not bad, but oftentimes, if I have like a big, like, shield or weapon that I'm trying to enchant, it's like, even if that value is really high, like even if it does like 1,000 damage, well, that's actually quite high. But if it does like 500 damage, you're only poisoning for 50. And unless that goes off very fast, you're not applying a whole lot of poison. So I don't think Toxic is amazing. Heavy. Now, Heavy can be really good. It's kind of like Turbo in the sense that like sometimes you get it and you're like, this feels kind of bad. But being able to slow opponents can be very degenerate, especially on something like a Jabalian drum, where every time you use a weapon it'll slow them. That's pretty insane. But yeah, typically with heavy it's like when you use this item slow X amount, which is not bad. But oftentimes on the things you really want to be enchanting, like your big finisher, like a fixer-upper, or like a staff of the moose, anything like that, you don't want heavy on it. You want more damage or a way to gain health, right? So slowing things is not good, but I think it's better than poison because there are, I think, a few items that I actually do really appreciate, like a heavy enchant. Even something like the core. Like I play a lot of dually lately, and the core has not really great damage enchants. But if you put heavy on it, it slows an item for 4 seconds every time it goes off, which is really good. So, fiery. I would have had fiery a lot higher, and actually before this most recent patch, I had fiery I think at like 4. The problem is that now like restoration, that kind of stuff, it cuts it by 10%. So I don't think I love it. It can still be a lot of damage. For me, it does the same thing as toxic, by the way, where it's like does 10% of either your shield or damage, or does damage equal to your poison usually. It's way better damage than poison, so that's why it's ranked higher. But I think it's just like the low amounts of damage that you get, like only doing 10% of your damage from a weapon isn't a lot. Again, it double ticks, so it can be good. And I have had instances where like I do have something scaling crazy. Like I had a force field build the other day with fiery, and it was like my force field was going off 3 times in rapid succession, so I instantly put like 500 burn on him. That was insane. But would Obsidian been better? Yeah. So fire is really good, a lot of damage, but I don't think it's quite amazing. Number 6, I'm going to say shielded. Also before this patch, I would have ranked shielded higher. So what's so good about shielded? Well, shielded is really important because, so first of all, shielded, if you have an item that does damage, it typically will shield equal to that damage. If you have something like an item that burns or poisons, it'll do 10 times that burn or poison. That's a big reason why shielded is so strong. Shielded enchantments on a poison or burn item, especially if they're getting scaling, are nuts. It's just a tremendous, tremendous amount of just like life gain. And I also really like shielding and restoration. Maybe this is like a me thing, but I often feel like my builds have a lot of damage, but they don't have a lot of sustain. And having shield or restorative really gives you that sustain. You know what I mean? It's good to be both like offensive, but also have that defensive capability. And shielded and restorative really give that. Also, shielded is really nice because it cuts fire damage in half. So it's like if a fire damage or fire tick was gonna do like 100 damage to you, or a burn tick, whatever, it will do 50 damage even if you just have like 1 shield up. So that's really, really strong. But yeah, I just like it because it's really good defensive and also quite good in terms of like cutting into burn and stuff like that. Next up, I'll have a restorative. Now, I think restorative, again, before the patch, I would have had these swapped, and I actually think I had restorative in like the 7. I think restorative is a bit better now, just because, honestly, I haven't been like getting too pestered by a lot of burn builds, but also being able to cut like 10% of your burn or poison every time something restorative goes off. You can even throw this on something like a Divoids, actually, and just have it absolutely cut through poison and burn. But yeah, typically what restorative does, same thing as shield, is it'll do like healing equal to the item's damage, or like 10 times the 10 times the burn or poison. So pretty good, but yeah, I think it's just better. I mean, it doesn't cut burn in half, but being able to like remove a significant amount of burn and poison is very, very strong in my opinion. Next up, we're gonna have Obsidian. Why is Obsidian good? Well, if you have a big damage item and you're like, shit, I just want to kill him quicker, well, you just double your damage. And then you can still crit. Still crit. So, Obsidian's really, really insane. It's one of the enchantments I'm always low-key hoping for if I get a big enchant. Like, just guaranteeing you deal double the effect, double the damage. Even on like a burn item, Obsidian will do 10 times the burn item's damage. So like, Obsidian Lighter as a Vanessa start is disgusting, and I've gotten wrecked by some of those, and it feels horrible. Yeah, really strong. Doubling your damage is always good. Or if like, you have something like a fixer-upper, then you have like your shielding and health already taken care of, now you have damage. So it's like really, really nasty. Number 3 is Icy. Icy is, in general, very good. There are certain things that break it more than others. Like, if you got Icy on an old power drill, it's a lot different than, like, Icy on a fixer-upper. And now I actually might say that I might actually put Obsidian higher than Icy, but Icy is still really good because, like, especially on the right item, it can be so broken, like so much amount of freeze. So I'm willing to put it higher. And yeah, typically what Icy does, it's like heavy or turbo, or it just adds like freeze to an item, or if it already freezes, it'll double the freeze duration, which can be really, really good. Next up, we have Golden. Now this might be my pig bias showing through, because I do love pig. Typically what Golden does, it's going to double the value of an item. And on the things that want to be enchanted, that's kind of the caveat for this list, is like it wants to be enchanted, because there's some items, like if you got a Golden on ATM, you don't really care for your fight. If you got like Golden on a fixer upper, it's double value. Or if you got like Golden on a pawn shop, it's double value. And then again, this might be my pig showing through, but an enchantment literally just doubling the efficiency of your item is insane. Like it's basically like shiny light, and I'll get to shiny in a sec. It's basically like shiny light, just for Pygmalion in a sense. I mean, you can do it on kind of Cove with Vanessa as well, and I'm sure other items, but it's like shiny light in a lot of ways. So I really like it. There's an argument to be made, like, for certain things, maybe it could cloud the pool of enchantments a little bit, which is why I'm rating it lower than shiny. In addition, I think shiny is just always generally good, where it's like Golden is also very specific to, I feel like, Pygmalion most of the time, so I didn't feel putting it top. Finally, of shiny, the best way I could, oops, really? Okay, the best way I could think about shiny is shiny effectively like doubles the efficiency of an item. If you have something like a Fang, it'll give it multicast. Like, very often shiny will give something multicast, which is insane. It just goes off twice instead of once normally. And if you have your best item going off twice instead of once, it can be very good because it just like doubles the effectiveness of it. But then also, like, if you have triggers that are like, hey, when this triggers, do this, well, now it does that twice. So it's insane. In terms of that, shiny can also work on pretty much any other item. Like a shiny silencer will basically, it'll give more cooldown. Yeah, it's just insane. It's just insane. Shiny is just a crazy enchantment. Crazy enchantment. Like, or like I had a shiny star chart once, and I don't know if it's like this anymore, but when I had it, it was literally, it doubled the cooldown and the crit chance on it. So like, it was giving like 50% cooldown to the items alongside it. It was insane. And I had it on a sniper rifle build, and it went off in like 0.1 second. I'm not even kidding. And actually, real quick, just for this enchantment, and honestly because I wanted to flex, I'm going to show you guys this dually clip I had yesterday, because look at shiny breaking this. This allows like force field to go off like 5 times. It doesn't, it's 3 times, but you get the point. Beyond that, guys, those are my rankings for all the enchantments in the Bazaar. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'd like to thank the tier list creator, me. I just wanted to throw that in. No, but seriously, guys, if you enjoyed this video, please drop a like and subscribe below. Helps the channel tremendously. Beyond that, I hope you guys are doing well. You know, hope you guys are doing swimmingly. I hope you guys aren't sick like I am right now. Probably hearing my voice, but yeah, I hope you guys are doing well. I'll catch you next time, and yeah, take care.
Just trying to get this